When it comes to staining your outdoor project, be it siding, a deck, or even a fence, the pros do it best, but that's why they have to charge you for the best. Well, in today's video, I'll be sharing with you 5 tips to staining your outdoor project, give you that professional look that will save you not only time, but also money. Let's get into it. When it comes to staining natural wood siding, it could be a very intimidating process. From getting a nice flawless finish without all the blotchiness of stain, to actually applying it smoothly to make your life a whole lot easier. In today's topic, we will cover all of those things, and I will give you all the top tips that I wish I knew before doing this to my own property. Let's get into it. Behind me is a 1,900 square foot A-frame cabin in the woods. And after 3 long weeks of putting on this beautiful Western red cedar tongue and groove siding, we're finally gonna start tackling on staining it. Let's get into it. What's great about cedar siding is cedar is highly durable, especially as a natural wood. That means it could withstand a whole lot, probably better than a lot of this MDF trim that's out there. Because of its tongue and groove tendencies, it locks out any kind of moisture from getting into any place, especially because all the nail holes are all covered by that tongue and groove. But we still have quite a bit of prep that we need to do in order to make sure that it withstands all the crazy snow and harsh sun elements. The first tip of staining your outdoor project is the prep work. That siding has trim pieces around windows and around corners. Those all need to be protected from water intrusion. In order to accomplish that, you have to use an exterior grade acrylic latex caulk. Because we're staining it, it's very important you find the one that is clear. There's lots of benefits of this acrylic latex caulk, 1 being UV protection, 2 being moisture resistant, and 3 being extremely high elasticity. And with that elasticity, the longer it sets, be 4, 6, or even 24 hours sometimes, the better durability you'll achieve with the expansion and contraction of your siding over time. In simple terms, let it sit longer, it'll allow for it to stretch and not crack on you over time. So you guys are noticing that I'm using a tape trick to create these crisp lines, and here's why. Again, I want to preserve this natural wood tone, so when stain goes on, if you have something like this acrylic latex silicone or caulk on there, it's gonna create this different contrast of colors, like a different shade of it. So to prevent that, I'm creating a crisp line that specifically when you're looking at these boards straight on, you don't notice it, except for the sides here. And I think that's gonna give us a such much better finish than having just this completely blotched out stain that goes on the siding. I don't think it's gonna look good at all, but this, my friend, that's gonna work and it's gonna look beautiful. We wrapped up yesterday all the caulking. Now, one thing that you might consider is set a whole different day for caulking. Reason why is exterior stuff, apart from unlike interior stuff. Interior stuff, sometimes you can paint after like 30 minutes. Exterior stuff, the longer the time that you have to wait for it to be paint ready, the more elasticities it has for your external stuff. So something to consider. Tip number 2 when achieving a professional finish when staining your outdoor project is spray, don't roll. There's a few reasons for that. Yes, spraying is a lot easier than actually rolling anything on, whether it be paint or stain. However, when you are spraying your outdoor project, siding, maybe a fence or a deck, you're creating a layer of stain that sits on that project, allowing for the pores in that wood to actually start absorbing all that stain, getting a deeper penetration. And all that means is that project that you work so hard on is gonna last you a whole lot longer from the weather conditions. When you are going to be spraying it, you can use a traditional airless sprayer that you can pick out at your local Home Depot for under $300. However, the most important thing to know is that the tip that you use for that sprayer has to be changed from the traditional paint tip to a stain tip. And all that means is that stain is a lot thinner than paint, allowing for it to create that mist. So by using, instead of a 515 tip to a 311 tip, I know that number doesn't mean anything to us layman people, but to the professionals, when they switch to a smaller tip size for a stain application, it allows the particle size to be a lot smaller when dispersed onto the wood, allowing to then again penetrate better and having an even coat. Tip number 4, and this pairs up really nicely with tip number 3, is when you do spray it, the most important critical part is back rolling in the process. All back rolling means is the process of following through after the spray with a roller. What this does is any stain that did not get penetrated into the pores and its excess, if it's not removed or dispersed evenly, it'll start hardening and you'll have these drip lines. they're extremely ugly. To accomplish this, you can use a 3/8 snap roller that's specifically dedicated for stains. Back roll to make an even distribution of stain, and once the project dries, you'll be very satisfied that you did that. Hey, I'm not one to brag or show off, but I'm gonna brag and show off. Check how luscious and green my lawn is. So I'm excited to tell you about the secret to getting a lush green grass like this, and what happens to be the sponsors of today's video, Sunday. Here's the thing about lawn care. It could be a complicated process. Between knowing how much nitrogen you need, what is potash, why are we using potassium, how much to water, when to water. I mean, there's so many complicated variables. So that's where Sunday comes in. They simplify the process to make it so approachable to get a luscious green lawn without having to spend a fortune on it. Believe me when I say this, the process could not get any simpler. You simply go on getsunday.com, type in your address, boom, GPS finds your location, gives you a perimeter layout of the lawn that you're working with. They have fancy graphs that break down the climate that you live in. Are you living in Arizona where it's nice and dry, or are you living in Florida where it's really humid? And the best part, it shows up right at your door. Do you know what's crazy is how many harmful ingredients are in a lot of lawn care products. That's why when you have little kids playing outside, or maybe even pets, that could be no good. But what's great about Sunday is that it's simple, it's easy, it's got no harsh chemicals, no unwanted chemicals, it's pet friendly, and it's all ingredients backed by nature. Not to mention ingredients you can actually pronounce. It comes in these super easy application pouches where you simply just add the straw in, connect it to your garden hose, and just spray away. And they even have it in granular form in case you want to take your sprayer out for a joyride on a Saturday. So if you want to get a luscious green lawn like I have, head to getsunday.com/MrBuildIt, or simply click the link in the description below. Use my promo code MrBuildIt30 to get 30% off your first lawn care plan. I can't wait for you to be proud of your lawn. Thank you, Sunday. Now let's get back into this video. This is the most critical part of spraying the stain. It sprays easy, but it's really watery. So it's gonna start dripping on you. It's gonna cure unevenly. So by back rolling, well, that's gonna ensure two things. Number one, we get an even finish. So it looks like it's got a nice perfect glaze without the blotchiness. Second thing it's gonna do, it's gonna push our stain deep into those little fibers for it to have even a better seal, making our stain last us a very long time until we have to reapply it in 2 years. If you're brand new to the channel, every once in a while out here, we like to do some shady shit. And by shady shit, it's borderline shady and cowboyish. So what does it mean? Before, we didn't have this AC unit or heat exchanger connected, and we were able to throw up the siding a lot easier. The guys came back and installed this just 2 days ago, and this limits our access to be able to get up there and stain this thing and even caulk it. Before, we used to have a roofing ladder just lay right on the roof. It was a perfect pitch, nice and safe with the claws down. You felt comfortable. What we're gonna have to do here is probably take our roofing ladder, pin it all the way here, and create a bridge into that corner. And the number one goal here is to not kill ourselves, break anything, or damage that roof and bend it. Let's get our cowboy boots on. So what we got here is these foam pads. We tape the snot out of them. Theoretically, because we're gonna be hitting the corner of this ladder, that's gonna be more prone to bending. But I think because we double loop these pads, we should be looking okay. Fingers crossed. Let's get into it. Proud to announce, I didn't get hurt. Ben didn't get hurt. We got our stain up, and the most important part, no roof was damaged. Thank God. Now we're moving to the most complicated part of this build, or the stain project, the very front. But first I gotta finish off one last bump out section by the dining room, and then we'll get into it. Tip number 5 to get a professional look for your outdoor staining project is choosing the right side of the board. I know it sounds a little silly, but cedar is one of the most popular wood species to use for outdoor projects, specifically on fences or, in my situation, as siding. Some folks who want to save a little bit of money, they choose to opt to pine instead of cedar, and all that means is it's going to need a lot more protection far more frequently. But the two things both of those species have in common is that typically when they're made, be a fence or siding, they typically have a rough side and a smooth side of the board. Now, in most situations, you can use either side, but typically the smoothest side will allow for you to have much more even distribution of stain. However, the rough side creates a really unique textured look, and through the natural process of wood staining being absorbed through the rough parts, it tends to blotch out far more than the smooth side, also known as the denser side. So if you're doing your fence, make sure the rough side is facing your neighbor, and you can select the nice smooth side for a pretty finish. The moment has come. We're tackling the very front here. My strategy here is gonna be do the entire soffit, because the most important part to me right now is back rolling. That's literally the deciding factor of how the thing turns out. Do the entire back roll, do this soffit back roll, and then work my way down. I still don't know how I'm gonna handle the middle parts because I can't really use my shield, especially up there. The shield drips a lot of stuff, man. So we might have to do a little bit more, maybe even hand roll the middle part, but at least the big stuff right now, have a plan. It's ladder time. Now, if you made it this far, I'm gonna share with you the bonus tip when it comes to getting a professional look to your outdoor stain project, and that is choosing the right stain. Within the world of stain, you have an option between solid stain and semi-transparent. So to find out which one to go with, let's figure out the pros and cons of both. Let's start with the pros for semi-transparent. The pros are far better penetration, shows the wood grain that enhances the look of the project. It creates a far more natural look, and it's a far easier reapplication process. Now the cons. It has less UV protection in those harsh environments. It fades a lot faster, requiring a reapplication between 2 to 4 years. And you have a limited selection of colors, which I don't think is that big of a deal. Now the pros of solid stain. You get the most amount of UV protection. And because of that UV protection, you can reapply between 4 and 6 years. And there's a crap ton of colors to choose from, which again, that's not a huge win or loss. Now the cons. You're hiding that natural, beautiful wood grain tone. That one's a little hard to wrap your mind around because you're spending so much money on the material and you're not even getting the benefits of that beautiful look. It's far more prone to peeling over time. You see, as wood expands and contracts, it tends to stretch the paint that hardens on top of it, especially being an outdoor project. And lastly, my least favorite part about it. It's extremely difficult to strip off, which means that when you do reapply it, it tends to cake up like old paint on a 100-year-old house. Guys, we're officially done with staining this cabin and I couldn't be more happier. I was scared at first, it looked way too orange, but with time, the color did settle down. If you're curious how much product I use, all of this you see here was just one 5-gallon bucket. So that's about a $250 materials cost. And in the meantime, here's a video I think you might enjoy. See ya, bye.